La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
You know what day it is? Inner Wealth Podcast. Meditate and give. So manifest the greater this. And things all good cause I say it is. Invest in your inner wealth. Real generational wealth is mental health. It's an inside game, no toxicity. Let's talk and more listening. Ladies and gentlemen, and now introducing David McCullar, founder of Inception, the first mental health gym.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
La 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 la.
Inner Wealth Podcast.
Get out the matrix and live.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Inner Wealth Podcast. Got a special guest in the building, Bryce the Third.
Yo. What's up, everybody? How y'all feeling?
What up, though, man?
I'm good, man.
Good.
I'm good. How's your energy?
How's my energy?
Yeah.
My energy is it's powerful.
Okay.
It's creative.
Yeah.
It's waiting for that spring to pop up because I feel it. You feel it? You getting a little taste of it?
Kinda.
We got like 10 inches of snow, and then I'm talking about spring right
Yeah,
now.
right,
But
yeah.
that sun,
Yeah, the sun is beautiful. I get a lot of my power from the sun.
the sun is our life force. So,
Yeah.
what I want to start off with talking to you about,
Okay.
because I listened to you on Breaking the Machine podcast with my guys Ahmad and Spank,
Yeah.
and one thing that just kept coming up when I listened to you was intention. And intention is very powerful, specifically for me because I learned about intention probably when I was about 24,
Okay.
and I learned that from Dr. Wayne Dyer
Yeah.
when he had a book called The Power of Intention. So I'm gonna
Legendary.
dedicate that whole title of this episode called The Power of Intention.
That's appropriate.
Yeah. So I got some cards here. Now, I had these cards when I was working at this company back in 2004-05, and people used to always come to me and they used to say, "Can I pull a card?" I wasn't a tarot card reader or anything like that. It's just it was a stressful job. And so I will always come in with the positivity. You know, I come because I listen to things like Anthony Robbins and, like I said, the Wayne Dyers and the Deepak Chopra. So how I perceive things, even though we were in a stressful environment and sales environment, I still try to go in and try to create my reality within it. And so that whole idea of creating the reality came after I watched a movie called What the Bleep Do We Know?
What the bleep do we know?
So you know about that, right?
I'm hit.
You're hip.
Yeah.
So we watched that. I watched that movie, and then the breadcrumbs come later.
Okay.
And I got your book here,
Yeah.
the handbook, A Pocket Guide for Creating Your Desired Reality and Being a Good Human While You're at It. And all that, I resonate with all of that.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Okay.
You know, so I resonate with that. And then I open the book up and the praise, and it starts listing off names like Stephen Covey. Love Stephen Covey. First of all, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is one of the most sold books ever.
Oh, word.
It was like second next to the Bible.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
but
wild.
all those principles are all spiritual principles. It comes off as like kind of corporate-y, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just principles. So I want to talk to you about power of intention, but I also want to, talk about again, you blend so many concepts together like myself. So I already know we're gonna have a good conversation.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I want you to just pick a card. And once you
Okay.
pick a card, I'm gonna have you read the card and let's just talk about it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So you pick a card.
Let's do it. Picking a card. Let's see. All right, I got one.
All right.
Do I read it?
Yep.
Okay.
Read the back of it first. Whatever the back is.
Which is the back?
That's the back.
That's the back.
Look,
Okay.
yeah.
It say see the beauty in everything.
See how you pick that, man? All right, go ahead.
And then it says, as you awaken to your divine nature, you'll begin to appreciate beauty in everything you see, touch, and experience. That's huge. That's huge. That's deep. I think in my own personal experience, and you talking about like intention, and like in this season of my life, like intention is very important. Even being in this room with you right now and being an author, like this all started from me beginning a life of intentionality and beginning to live on purpose versus what it is that I was handed. You know, and everything with me started with music, and I still do music. I'm a great musician, and I'm also not limited to that. You know, so everything is just continued to expand. And when we're talking about perception, the expansion of our perception expands our world, because the world ends and begins with us. If I live in a world, so this is, I was just telling my daughter this the other night, because she has this talent show that she got going on in school, and she like, Dad, I'm anxious about this talent show. I'm kind of scared about it. And, you know, I told her, like, well, when it comes to fear, we can feed into that. I feel fear every time I hit a stage. I perform like crazy. And I feel fear every time I hit a stage, every time I'm finna do a talk, every time I'm finna go up and perform. But I move anyway in the face of that fear. And then I become the person who cultivates the strength that allows me to move opposite of what the fear tells me to do, right? But also, the people who can't live, the people who feel like everybody is judging them, the people who feel like they get on stage and everybody's gonna laugh if they mess up, are the people that judge other people. And this is because we live in a world of which we perceive. So if I make fun of people, if I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and I get off by making, like, why her hair like that? Why her shoes like that? Why she wearing them clothes like that? Why he ain't got no money? Woo, woo, woo. If I live like that, I can't live. I can't live fully expressed because I live in a world where people judge people because I'm judging people. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when it says, see the beauty in everything, as you awaken to your divine nature, you'll begin to appreciate beauty in everything you see, touch, and experience, is because divinity is wholeness. So if I see out of the lens of wholeness, then everything I receive will be whole. And there's nothing but beauty in just being okay and just being allowed to be who it is that I am, however it is that I present myself to be, with no thinking that judgment is happening or nothing opposite to what it is of my expression, but like I can just be. Like, that's peace. Doesn't that sound like peace?
That is peace. So what took you down that rabbit hole to be able to even understand this card? Because a lot of people I can hand this card to, and they may not even had that a level of awareness from themselves to see the beauty. Because I heard you talk about duality. Yeah. And it's like it's all necessary, right?
Yeah.
So the beauty in everything is, the Bible talks about, what is life without pain? You know? Like we literally go to, you've been to Cedar Point.
Yeah, I've been to Cedar Point, yeah.
They got a point with the roller coasters where you go up, and then up ain't the fun part. What's the fun part? Down and around and left and right.
Yeah.
Right? If you came here, now let's go back to Nintendo games. Contra. We used to play Contra back in the day, and we used to have the Contra code, get 30 lives. Yeah. Right? I don't know who beat the game without the Contra code. Yeah. But at the same time, if you play a video game and you put the cheat code on, it's not fun. Yeah. It's no longer fun.
Yeah, because you know you can't die. There's no thrill to it.
You ever seen this movie called Bliss?
Bliss.
It came out on Amazon like last year.
Nah.
It's with Salma Hayek and what is the guy's name? Luke Wilson.
Okay, yeah.
And
is
so
that Owen Wilson?
Owen Wilson.
Yeah. Is it Owen Wilson or Luke Wilson?
I think it's Owen Wilson.
They brothers.
Owen Wilson is the more popular one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Owen Wilson and Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
And so in the movie, and a spoiler alert, in the movie, basically,
wait a minute. Should I see the movie?
You should, but I'm not gonna give you the full spoilers. I ain't gonna do you dirty like that.
All right.
I'm gonna let you. But the whole concept is, am I living? The reality I'm living in, is it real or is it fake? And what you have to come to understand is that even a reality that you live in, if it's bad things in it, those can be catalysts, right, for your whole experience in your life. If everything was good, it wouldn't be worth living. If everything was bad, it wouldn't be worth living. They both synergistically work together. So when did you come to that realization that everything that you saw was working for your good in some way?
Man, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, because good and bad and realities. So there's this thing where it's like there's 8 billion people on the planet. And so there's 8 billion different like realities, right? So there's actualities where like somebody can come and pick up a card from this deck, right? And you can live in the reality of like, oh, you know, my whole life I've had to fight for everything I've had. Like my whole life I've had to like make sure nobody took anything from me, right? Like so you can see the action of the person taking a card from the deck as, oh, this person's trying to take from me. Whereas like me, I could live in the reality of like, oh, I'm giving, everybody deserves. So when somebody comes and picks a card from this deck, like I see it as, oh, like, you know, they're just doing, like I have this deck of cards on the table for people to take. I wish more people would come and take this card. So you looked at it as something that was bad. I looked at it as something that's good. But the actuality is somebody picked the card up.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So there's all this interpretation going on by all these different realities. So there's so many different realities. And what I've learned is that it's important for us to design. So if there's a whole bunch of different realities, one, like the best thing in this information is that, well, if there's all these different realities, then maybe I can create my own. Yeah. And if I can create my own reality, how much of my reality have I created? All of it. And if I create all of my reality, can I create a reality that empowers me? It's like, oh, well, yeah, I can. So then we sift it out and you say bad and good, like the bad and the good. And I don't think bad and good, it really exists. And I'm the type of person too, like as I develop, like the more I find out I don't know. So the next time you talk to me, these things may be obsolete. But as of this moment, like I don't think bad and good exists. I think it's my perception, how I perceive it.
Yeah. And they're just words.
Yeah.
That's just words to describe an experience.
And it's a filter.
Right.
Because if I see something is bad, like I immediately reject it. Yeah. Like I'm immediately opposed to what just happened. I am no longer able to accept the circumstance for what it is. But if I see it as something that is neither bad or good, but something that can serve me, I can allow it to run through the funnel of my perception in a way that empowers me and gives me strength and gives me the ability to learn the lesson that life is showing up to give me. Once we live a life where it's like, okay, the greatest teacher in this whole experience is my experience. Oh, now I'm turning everything into an opportunity to gain strength. I'm turning everything into an opportunity to learn how to have understanding and compassion for my fellow my neighbors and myself. You know, so it's like it's what type of life would you rather live? Do you want to live a life where it's like, oh, I'm debilitated because I like the system and these things are against me, and you do a lot of work when it comes to like, you know, Black people and like intergenerational trauma and like some of the stuff that we have no control over, like because we don't even understand that it's going on. And it's like, but once we become aware to these things that are at play, if we continue to allow it to affect us, if we perpetuate it, now it's our fault. Right. You know, it's not my fault how I got here. It's not my fault how my ancestors got here. It's not my fault that I suffer from maybe biological anxiety from people who had to deal with things that no human should have to deal with. But it is on me if I continue to perpetuate this and fall victim to it, if I'm aware of it. Right.
Let's go to here, because there's some things you said in there. One about how many realities do you say exist?
I mean, so last time, I always say 7 billion people on the planet, but I think last time I checked, it's like the number fluctuates. So I think we had 8 billion people. So that's 8 billion different realities.
Right, and that's one way to look at it. But and then I want to say the truth, but there's an infinite number of realities. There's 8 billion projected realities. We're projecting our reality of what, and two, within our reality, there's micro realities within that reality. There's not just one stream, right? There's channels, because your relationship is a reality. How you connect with people romantically. So all these realities really are projected belief systems that's streaming out how we see ourselves onto the world. And the reason why I said it's infinite, because we go back to that quantum theory. All realities exist at the same time. The moment that you place your awareness on a reality, it collapses all other possibilities. And this is quantum theory, right? When we all walk out of this room in quantum theory, this room ceases to exist if there's no conscious observer of it. Right? Yeah. That's the deeper part of, quantum theory. We don't go too deep, but that's the idea. Yeah. So when we think about, like, let's go here with, you're a Black man, I'm a Black man. Police killing, abusing Black men is a reality. But that's not my reality.
That's controversial.
But it's not my reality. I witness it. I see it. I've been pulled over like probably 5-6 times. Every time what happened? Nothing. They let me go.
Yeah.
Just no ticket, nothing. Just okay, go. Why did that happen for me, but that doesn't happen for the next man? You know? So that goes down to, again, how we see and perceive things as well. Because if I perceive you as a threat coming up to me, then what is my reaction going to be?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to be in a state of anxiety because I have a belief about how I should experience you.
Yeah.
And this is not just about police. This is about
Culture.
our relationships with people. You know, oh, she dresses a certain way or she looks a certain way, so she's gonna take advantage of me. She's a gold digger. So now when you come into this reality, well, you already projected your belief about what was going to happen for you because you had your idea about how this person was.
You already knew it. You already had your funnel.
So you collapsed all other possibilities, right? And that's the other part that's it's going to be hard for a lot of people to start to understand that we create our realities in a certain way, and how we choose to respond to certain stimulus as well.
So then it's like us as teachers, like I think it's on us to figure out how to synthesize these ideas in a way that people can understand that they have a choice. When you speak of, okay, I see this, but that's not my reality, you choose for that to be the case. And I think like that's, and me and Ahmad, when we talked on Ahmad's podcast about media. So the reason that these things are being shown to you over and over again is because media has been democratized. So now you're seeing these things that we knew existed the whole time. And for me, so that's not my reality either. Right, but I've had the state police flip my car inside out. I lived in Inkster, and I've had the Inkster police pull me over in my own driveway and put a gun to the back of my head in my own driveway when my daughter was asleep inside. Like I've had that experience, but today in this moment, that's not my reality. I don't move in fear. You know, and so we can choose our reality, but how do we do it? You know, and it's kind of like that story with the fish in the water. The fish asks the other fish, how's the water? And the fish is like, what water? Because the fish don't know. So I think a lot of the work that you do is help paint the picture of the water that allows people to have the choice in their lives as to what reality they live.
Right, like I said, so the stimulus, I can't change the stimulus. I can't. I can't change the stimulus. What I'm trying to show people to do is to have the space to be able to respond differently. You know? And the space comes from doing your internal work. Doing that therapy work. And that therapy work, when people see therapy, the only thing they see is somebody sitting on a couch talking to another person. Therapy is so broad. Therapy looks like putting your bare feet on top of the earth. Therapy looks like turning off all of the programming that's coming at you. Therapy looks like taking care of yourself on a day-to-day basis, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Therapy looks like merging all the worlds from fitness to, what do you want to call it, self-help, to spirituality, to therapy, to all the modalities that I use. Therapy looks like bridging all of those together and understanding that they're not separate from each other.
We could keep this going. Like therapy means having a peer group, like, you know, having friends like David and Bryce.
Community.
Yes, therapy means seeking opportunities to grow. Therapy means reframing our circumstances in the way that we see the world. Like therapy means, what do we eat? What do we ingest? Our diet is not just what we eat. Our diet is also what we consume on social media and on TV and through our ears and the music we listen to. Therapy, like we can just trade bars.
and then we talked about the who. So you said there's 8 billion different realities. If that's the number, right? Who owns the ability to shape your reality? Because if I know this and you know this, right? And let's say that we're the powers that be. If I know this about how to condition people to have a specific reality, which all black people in slavery, we were conditioned to have a specific reality. And their reality was, I'm greater than you. And then they conditioned us to say, hey, you're less than me. Hey, my black people, when do we wake up to understand that we've been conditioned to have a reality that's less than? When do we wake up to that conditioning? That's what doing the therapy work does, is waking up to that conditioning, so that then you have more of ability to choose your reality.
And that's it. That's it right there. Because like, so as soon as you say the powers that be, so that, and that's the thing with shit like that, like words like that. Because there's some people that get there and stop there. Like the powers that be, wake up, my brother. We gotta woo woo. And it's like, but then it becomes this blame thing. Whereas like they the reason why I don't have what I have. Like they the reason why I have less than. They the reason why I'm behind and they in front. And it's like, okay, well, waking up is one part, but also like the choosing, the active action that we take to develop the life that we want to have is the next part. And really for me, the biggest part. Cause like now, once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep, but you could just wake up and just not do shit. You see what I'm saying?
Well, Neo could have woke up and said, hey, I'm out of the matrix. And that's that. And he could have just had cognitive dissonance like he had, and that could have just destroyed him.
Yeah.
Many people are not going to wake up. And the thing is, what are we waking up to? So how I think we're waking up, I don't think about this woke culture. Like I don't process that the same way. Waking up to who I am, waking up to my purpose, waking up to my power. Go look at abusive relationships. We have been in an abusive relationship, a codependent relationship with a white supremacist system. That's why we keep saying, you know what? It's your fault. Can you give me some reparations?
Yeah. So okay. Yeah.
Can you? Why would you ask your abuser to help you?
What that's gonna do?
Why would you ask your abuser to help you? Why would you ask our schools? Y'all don't teach. You want your abuser to teach you? You want your abuser to empower you?
Oh man, controversial territory, baby.
No, that's not controversial if you want your abuser to take care of you. Because if you see a woman in an abusive relationship, you instantly know, well, why don't you get out of that? Why you keep letting him beat you like that? There's something better for you. But you know what? Stockholm syndrome.
Sympathizing with your abuser. That's crazy.
Sympathize with your abuser. So for us,
maybe we're looking for
a savior,
somebody else to lead the way.
Yeah.
But like, and I think that was one of the things that like really struck my heart in the season that it struck my heart very tough is that, oh, nobody's coming.
No.
Nobody's coming. Because even coming from like rapping and like making music, like we used to get around and make music and like, yeah, we finna get signed and we finna be on and somebody gonna see us and like, you know, then people would drop off. Then it's like, let's like somebody gonna see us and more like, man, ain't nobody looking. And then for me, like with music, business, entrepreneurship, like it's like, oh, like I'm him. Like I'm him. But what preceded the music, what preceded the entrepreneurship was the spiritual. It's like, oh, nobody is going to come and hold me and hug me and tell me that it's okay and give me reparations for the trauma that I've suffered, because it's my process to process is my experience. Like nobody has had this experience. As a matter of fact, everybody is doing the best that they can with what they've been given. So it's up for me to do the best I can with what I've been given, and I can see a little bit more now. So now that I'm waking up a little bit more, now I have this responsibility. And then we're talking about depression, because if I'm awake, so that's the thing, like when you said Neo waking up, he could have woke up and then just chose not to do anything else. But what I mean by once you wake up, you can't go back to sleep is once you're up and you're aware, you can't deny your calling now. So now it's either like I move forward in the direction of what it is that I'm called to, or I become depressed because I'm not moving in alignment with what it is that I've been called to. You know, it's they say ignorance is bliss, and I've had arguments with debates with my sister about this, but I think that's only because like if you don't know that the water is water, like you're just like, this is just it. This is life. And I can complain and not have to take responsibility for the way that things turn out. But once I'm aware, somebody points out, I come across some information that lets me know like, oh, I play a role in this. Now I can continue to blame, but it's going to bring depression because I know that I have the opportunity to take action.
And I think that's what these conversations about waking up to your own personal responsibility, and I've just being an observer of our own culture, I've seen that. But at the same time, if you go back and you listen to some of the old heads who's been speaking this for a long time, I mean, you can go back to just even more biblical or outside of the Bible, going to the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, on and on and on. You can keep finding the same spiritual, because it's only going to be said over and over and over again. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It's a cycle. It's going to be the same thing. The question is, when you will you hear that call to wake up to something greater than yourself that's in yourself, something greater than what you've been shown, and that's the call. But let's pick another card.
All right. Let's get it. Let's see what we got. All right. I got be humble. Don't allow the approval and attention of others to destroy you. Remain humble and grateful for all your accomplishments, and know that a force greater than your ego is always at work in your life. And I think this speaks to that roller coaster analogy that you spoke about earlier, where it's like going up and coming down, and like, what's the fun part? And I think it was a process for me to hop off of the roller coaster. We tend to, when I dropped the book and I'm getting all these sales on my site, like I'm that man, or, I'm being talked about, or like all of these things are coming on at the same time. Like I'm that guy. But then when the eyes are off of us, like, dang, like nobody cares about me, or maybe what I'm doing is not important, or, in that roller coaster of the ups and downs of appreciation and attention, like learning to hop off of that roller coaster of when it's good and when it's bad, and allow for the process to be exactly what it is, and not determine our worth and our value on, who's all paying attention. And this is another thing, like with social media. Like social media gets so crazy because a lot of people, we are hoes for likes. We show up and
we say hoes for likes.
We hoes for likes. Like it makes me feel good when I drop something that came from my heart and I got like 500 people that's liking it. And it makes me feel like crap if I show up and do the same thing and get 3 people that's liking it. But what we don't know is there are a lot of things that play that ain't got nothing to do with us. They ain't got nothing to do with who we are. So to let go of those things, and I think that brings us right back to the beginning of what we were talking about, the power of intention. The most important thing we can do in our lives is to develop an understanding of what it is that we intend. If we know what it is that we intend, then we can move in alignment with that. If not, we're going to be pulled in all different type of directions, because you're going to have this person over here talking about this person over here talking about this piece of content going to do this piece of content don't do that. And it's like having, like when we don't have a foundational compass as to where it is that we're going, we can be pulled in any direction.
Last episode we did was called the entrepreneurship, the blueprint for success. And the blueprint is important because that is the intention.
Yeah.
When you walk in the grocery store and you walk in with a list, you walk out with everything on that list.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you get everything on that list? Because you had wrote down your intentions on that list of what you were seeking for, right? And you were hell bent that when you went in there, it was going to be in there, right? But also you detached. You didn't have an attachment like, oh, you know what? I really hope they got this in here. Yeah. I really hope. You just went in with your list. Yeah, you weren't attached to it. But see, we're attached to outcomes so much. We're attached to, well, when I post this piece of content, I'm going to have all these likes. And I'm like, yo, I'm going to post it and it's going to do what it do. But because of this, the reason why we're so attached to it is because we don't know how to regulate and feel good within ourselves. We don't know how to conjure up our own feelings and emotions. Back to What the Bleep, that really talked about it in that movie. Everything you've ever experienced in your life never came outside of you. Where was it created?
It was all an experience.
Your brain. Your brain creates the whole experience. If you don't live in this suit, if you're a spirit, you don't have an experience that we have as a human body. So you need to understand, or I think people have to start to shift to that internal world and know that, all things good and bad, feelings, emotions, it's all built up on the inside of you.
I do want to make sure that we, because I can tend to float. So I want to make sure I ground, because I want people who are listening to this podcast or who are watching this podcast to know that this is a practice. So just like you go in a grocery store with that list, that doesn't mean that you'll come out with everything on that list. As a matter of fact, part of the process is being able to pivot when I go in and they don't have the chips that I wanted, but maybe they got some chips that are comparable or better. So there's this thing that somebody taught me. It's the or better principle, where it's like I do set intention and I do have affirmation. So it's like I'm going to be a millionaire or better, right? And so that or better allows God in. which allows me to put my ego to the side. Because if I'm going to be a millionaire, and that's period on period, like, yeah, I'm trying to get there, but I'm not going to be happy till I get there, and I'm going to be dissatisfied till I get there. And there I've defined, right? But when I say or better, I allow God to come in and do that definition. So it's like, oh, maybe what I need is to like be clicked up with people in the community who speak the same language as I do, and to make $150,000 a year and do something that doesn't even feel like work. And maybe I get my million over 7 years versus just a one, you know. So then we broaden our perception to allow for kind of something bigger than us. So like this card says, like, and know that a force greater than your ego is always at work in your life. So and that's the thing too, where having to, I've gotten into a lot of Abraham Hicks lately. Okay. And it's really helped to ease my practice. This is a practice. We show up, yes, we set intention, but our intention develops as we have more experience. All work works, and this experience is the work, right? So if you're the person that is not working for yet, then you're the person that is working on. And it's working on you to turn you into the person that is working for. So in this process, can we enjoy it? Because it's an inevitability. All work works. So can we show up with the intention and know that it's going to play out the way that we want it to?
Yeah, and I think with the word intention, there's two types of intentions. There's the ego-based intention, and then there's the more truer what you want to experience. That's why I say So I said I want to be a millionaire. Why?
That's big.
So when we talk about intention, we got to break down why it is that you want what you even want. Why do you want to be a millionaire? Because then I'm going to be able to get the stuff that I want. And then, okay, so once you get the stuff that you want, then what?
Bro, what do you even want? I don't know, but when I get $1 million, I'm going to tell you.
No, after the domino that ends, at the end of the domino, that last one that falls, the only thing that you want to do ever is change how you feel. You want to feel it. So my question is then, so why do you want to, why would make it about the millionaire? I want to feel confident. I want to feel secure. I want to feel abundant. That's a much more powerful. So you see how you said the ego made your thing so small, because the millionaire is very small.
It is.
That's a very small title, a desire. Yeah. The other things, if I can walk around confident and abundant and safe, secure within myself, I don't need $1 million.
I'm already $1 million. That's already the million.
I just need to be.
Yeah. And what's crazy is the lack of, so if I'm not complete until I get this thing, I'll never get the thing. That's the energy that repels the thing. Yep. But if I'm the person who I desire the thing and I am satisfied and eager for more, so I'm satisfied in this moment. So just like, you know, I live in an apartment, and I really wanted to live in these apartments in West Dearborn. I like it out here in Rural Oak, and like there's just different areas I want to go to. If I leave in dissatisfaction, like I'm going to find more dissatisfaction because I'm leaving incomplete. But you're complete right now. You're 100% whole right now. But when we move in a way that's like I'm holding on to the edge of my chair because I'm on the cusp, like we always create more opportunities for us to be on the cusp versus like, oh, I'm complete, I'm whole, I have everything I need right now in this moment. The more we live, the more we experience having everything we need in this moment right now.
Exactly. And you know, back to that thing, what we're talking about, everyone, I don't want to, you know, because I talk very emphatic and very straight to the point, like, yeah, we need this. But like you said, this is a journey. The intentions that I had when I was 21 is way different than the type of intentions that I have now. You know, I the first time that I ever did brain training is one of our services. This is 2007. Afterwards, I was looking for a desire that I had for a car. It was gone. I didn't even have the desire. So now I take the intention of I need this new car for my board. What did I want? I just want to feel better. But in that feeling better, this is what ends up happening. Don't allow the approval and attention. So what was the car going to bring me? Maybe approval, maybe attention. So I need to get down to the root of what I really want. Wayne Dyer talks about it. Knowing what you really really, really want.
Yeah.
And when you start breaking that down, it's like, you don't even want half the shit that you think you want. You know?
Yeah.
Next card.
Yeah. I'm gonna pick this one. Meditate regularly. Take some time to be silent and repeat the sound of God as an inner mantra. Meditation allows you to make conscious contact with your source and regain the power of intention. So there's this process that I use with anybody that I coach, with anybody that taps into any of the things that I got going on, where it's you set your intention. So it's kind of like prayer, saying it out loud, asking for it. Then you meditate. You listen. Shut up. Listen to what comes back. Meditate and allow for the energy to come in. And then you take action. And taking action will put you in alignment with what it is that you've intended. And then back to the beginning with that feedback that you get from the action that you take, back to the beginning. Ask even more specific, because like now it's like the domino effect where it's like, oh, I want the car. And then you meditate on it, and it's like, okay, well, I'm called to do this action. And then I do the action, and then come to find out I don't even want the car. Well, what do I really want? Then I'm pointing to what I really want. Let me go back to the step one. Let me pray. Let me ask specifically and get like even more deeper into the asking. Then let me meditate some more and allow those answers to come in. And then let me take action in alignment with those answers that I receive. And that's how I've manifested everything that I've manifested in my life thus far.
Same. That whole process. And I think we live in a noise. No, that was a Freudian slip. We do live in a noise. We live in a noise.
Yeah, we live in the noise for sure.
And I said this to someone yesterday about the internet or social media. As you start to look at all these feeds, it's nothing but a connected universal mind. So the question is, what does the connected universal mind sound like? It sounds very noisy.
Loud.
Sounds very loud, very noisy. When you scroll down a post, that's not a post, that's a thought. We're scrolling through people's thoughts. We're scrolling through people's projected thoughts too. You know, they're projected of how I want you to see me. But at some point, it's important. Take some time to be silent, comma. That's just start there. Be silent. Yeah. So we have these float tanks at Inception.
Yep, I've been.
You been?
I've been to Inception.
Okay,
yeah,
good. So we can talk about that too. So in this float tank, there's silence.
Yeah.
There's lack of stimulus.
Can I speak on my experience?
Yeah. We can talk about it. So that's important to take time to empty out the cup. Before we even get to the part where we repeat the sound of God as an inner mantra, that's just take time to be silent first, to empty.
Yeah, because what is the sound like? We don't even know yet.
Yeah, that just get empty.
And even knowledge assumes that I'll ever know. Like I don't know. Like I said, the more I learn, the more I find out I don't know. So even if you were to ask me like what God is today, like I don't know. And it's like, it seems like every time I come to a conclusion as to what God is, it's like God is like, nah, bigger. And it's like, man. And then, I have to grow some more. But like, so the silence aspect, I had this guest on my podcast. You Feel That with Bryce The Third, the premier podcast for those looking to grow, exceed, and excel in creativity and entrepreneurship for emotional wellness, mental wellness, and spiritual wellness. And her name's Stephanie Wallace, and she told me about this period of her life where she stopped praying, she stopped listening to stuff, she stopped tuning in to any of the mentors she had, and she just quiet and just allow her thoughts to run. And in that season of her life, she really came into contact with who it is that she perceived herself to be and the intention of who it is that she wanted herself to be, and came into contact with her voice and discovered like what it is specifically that she can bring to the table versus what it is that everybody is. Like she said, she used this term that really stood out to me. She's like, I was talking in memes. Like that's not even my language. Like I don't even speak like that. Who is this that's talking through me? And so she had to have that moment of like complete silence of everything to allow for that relationship to be cultivated with herself again.
I went through a long period like that. My background, I talk about it all the time, is from the church background. Spent a lot of time there, broke away from that to continue on my journey.
Yeah.
And I wasn't reading the Bible. I wasn't praying. I wasn't doing anything in that manner how I was conditioned to do it. And I just broke away and I said, you know what? I don't want to read any more books right now. There's a point I don't want to read any more books. I read a lot of books. I read all the self-help books. I was having panic attacks, bro. So I'm reading all the books, but I'm having panic attacks. I'm throwing up. I'm like really bad. At that point, there's no amount of information. Information is not my problem anymore. I got information. I need to take action. But in my taking action too, I need to slow down.
Yeah.
And I need to get present with the thing that I am. I am the source. You cannot be the source. You are the source. If you take a piece of the ocean away from the ocean, is it not the ocean? It's still an ocean. You have a spark. If you have a spark of God in you, then you are God. But we have a hard time processing this because we've been conditioned, specifically black people. I mean, anytime you say you are God to us, it's
blasphemy.
Like, what?
Blasphemy.
No, I am not powerful. What?
Yeah.
No.
That's wild.
No, that's blasphemy. Like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, I am Art and Tina. That's my parents. I am them. You know?
Yeah.
I cannot be them. I cannot not be them. I cannot not be my heritage.
Yeah.
So even if God formed us from the ground, I don't really believe that in terms of how the story of it is way more intricate than that. But let's say that. Let's just speak that.
Yeah.
What did he form you of? The earth. Well, who created the earth? He spoke the earth into existence. You are nothing but a sound vibration of the thing that you are. Every word you speak, it continues on. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. All your songs, they still out there playing. From the first time you play it, it's still out there. It's still reverberating everywhere, converting to something else, and it comes back to you. That's what I'm like. And I want to ask you about that too in terms of hip hop, in terms of, you know, the lyrics that you put out. And I haven't even listened to your music. So this is just a straight, you know, this is cold. The music you put out, have you seen that come back into your life? Have you seen that like boomerang? And how have you seen that? Can you share that?
Oh yeah. So the music I make now, and I think that's always been my comparative advantage in music, is that like I when I first started, like I was around a whole bunch of bar spitters and like people who like punch lines and gun bars and all type of crazy stuff. And like for me, I think my advantage was I could make you feel what it is that I was experiencing. And like the first time I knew that I was doing something powerful with words is when I made my mom cry. And I'm like, oh shit, like this is important. I can manipulate, and I know manipulation has a negative connotation, but I can manipulate the way that somebody feels. And so even
say influence.
Yeah, we'll say influence.
But I understand what you're saying about manipulation.
Is like clay. Like if I form clay, I can form clay into something powerful, and that's manipulation. But yeah.
No, I know how other people see it, but molding, manipulating, and inspiring resonance.
And that was my first, and now what I know, like that was my first brush with the power of media. The power of media. And so, yeah, very early on, I realized like, oh, like I got to talk about what's real to me. And very early on, like I would do shit just so I could rap about it.
Oh yeah, just so saying, oh yeah,
I was one of them where it's like, okay, I can't talk about guns unless I got guns, so let me go get some guns. Let me go do this. Let me go do that, and then now I got something to rap about.
Can we stop there for a second though?
Yeah.
Do you think that's how it is with a lot of people out here in the hip hop game, where because the younger generation, what I'm seeing is way different from.
I got a funny story. My guy Dale from Silent Riot, Dale and Maestro, shout out to Silent Riot. My guy Dale told me about a guy who had came in to record, and bro came in and he was sloppy. He was sipping lean and popping perks and Xans and Dale had asked him like, bro, like why you do this? Like this is, he was kind of up there too. He wasn't like no young kid. And he was like, why you do this? He was like, oh man, in order to make this music, like I gotta do this stuff. You know, and like throughout the midst of the recording session, he had to end the recording session early because he was too fried and couldn't finish the recording session. But that like spoke to me ever since he told me. That's like, damn. So that's exactly that. Like I have to do this in order to perpetuate this image of, and think about why anybody, so the domino effect. I want to be a rapper. Why?
Right.
Why? Most people, I want to hit a lick. I want to come up. I'm eating ramen noodles. I want to do what they show me on a TV screen. I was watching the old Bad Boy videos, bro. They spent millions of dollars. These movies. Like I want that. And I was also thinking like, damn, there's no music that tells us how to get money. Like there's music, like I got money, I'm getting money, or like, you know, I sold dope or woo woo. But there's nobody talking about like, oh, like I put money into assets and allow that money to turn over and be like, unless you listen to like Larry June or like Nipsey Hussle or like Currency or like, you know, Rick Ross. But like there's very little music like that. The music that we usually hear is the music that perpetuates like, oh, the bullshit, you know? And a lot of people, I want to rap. Why? Because they doing it and they coming up. They got money in their pocket. They doing it. I want money too. That's why I'm doing it. It's not necessarily for the art. But if you push those dominoes down and you get to the end of that domino row and it's like, oh, I want to do this because like I respect the art and I know that this is powerful and my words are powerful. If you do that, then it's like, okay, now we have to come into understanding of the power that is at hand.
Yeah.
You know, and how are we going to use it to affect people? Because that's exactly what we're doing. If I make music, I pull up and you like, if I make music like that, know that how you said it reverberates. Know that somebody might kill somebody to your music, bro. Know that there's some bodies to your words, and are you okay with that?
Yeah.
You know, but if you make music like, yo, sometimes like, or I often wonder if it wasn't for all the stress we be under, could we tap into all the universe wonders? We be on the surface, tell me what it's lying under. I'm finna crash land, I bet the impact thunders. I've been running out, left to all my own devices, and I've been running from and to like every one of my vices. Am I up or down, left or right, I can't decide it. One day I'm an optimist, the next thing I'm a nihilist. If I'm talking that and somebody hears that, it's like, oh, I go through that same thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, there's people that are having an experience just as I am, so I'm not alone. And then that comes back to me when I feel alone. It's like, oh, I'm not alone because it's the energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what we're doing is putting out that energy. And I'm just wondering how, you know, does a lot of people fall into their own thought process? Because even now when you listen to a lot of the podcasts that's talking about Pac, you know, a lot of he was hanging around a lot of people
my goodness,
who were gangster, and Pac really wasn't that gangster.
Are we gonna have this conversation in public, bro?
Yeah, well, he really. Then this is not coming from me. This is from people who's around.
I've never had this conversation.
Haitian Jack, he was hanging around people who like he was hanging around some real thugged out dudes, and Pac went to a performing arts school with Jada Pinkett. You know what I'm saying? And see, but it's like this. It's like it was nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
If Pac could have just been really Pac and not have to, now you going in these worlds and you hanging around Suge and all that stuff start to.
But
now
who are we?
You got to live that.
But who are we? If you look at like actors, like, okay, because I think about music. And I think about like, because I used to trip off Tupac. Like I didn't like Tupac.
Really?
Yeah.
What didn't you like?
Because remember I told you when I like my comparative advantage was I talked about my experience. So as a kid, as an 11, 12-year-old, I'm listening to Pac, and one day he this, and then the next song he this, and the next song he this. I'm like, this guy ain't even real. Like, who is this guy? Like, he's telling y'all stories. Like, I don't have time for that. But the more I experienced in life, the more I came across these stories that he was telling so intricately.
Yeah.
He had such a special ability to go into these different areas that he was going into and soak in the experiences of other people and display it in an artful way that it resonated with the listener. So it's like, I'm telling this specific story. This story is so specific because I seen it and I'm reflecting it through my art. And now you are forever represented in the song that will forever live, right? But if you look at like Jim Carrey and how he did the method acting, and even Will Smith, I just got done reading his biography or his memoir, and he was talking about when he played Sidney Poitier's son, and I forgot the name of the movie. It was his first movie, but it was his only method acting that he ever did. He got lost in the role. And Jim Carrey says, like, I took on this role and then I came back to put Jim Carrey back on and I couldn't find him. Who is Jim Carrey? Who is Will Smith? Who are we?
Yeah.
Right? So we could say Pac was inauthentic, or we could say like he got lost. he got lost in that
Yeah,
role
you're
of
playing
switching.
playing too many roles.
Yeah, and then who are we?
It's like Michael B. Jordan happened to him too. We talking about Heath Ledger too as well. When you start acting a certain way, you're gonna start believing your own hype. You know, that's why it's important to get back down to that silence.
Yeah.
Because the silence connects you to who you really are, and you're none of those things.
But who are we really?
Who are you really? You're nothing and everything all at once.
Oh man, you might have just blew up the whole podcast studio with that one sentence.
That's who you are. You're I am. That's it. I'm just I am. Jesus said, I am that I am. In the back of the Gita, it says, I am this and I am that. You're all of that. But you can't, that's not a linguistic thing that you can talk about. I can't tell nobody that. You have to have that internal knowing and tap into that. And if that resonates with you, cool. And if that don't resonate with you, cool. That's what I'm never trying to convert anybody to anything. Be who you are. Take what I say as a grain of salt. If it resonate with you, take it. If it don't. Turn it off. Pick another card, bro. While you picking this, tell me about your Inception experience.
Oh yeah, so Inception I don't think it was my first time floating, but it was definitely matter of fact, we just went this past summer. I took my dog from Scottsdale. He came up here and we went and took a float. So my first time floating ever was cool. I did a 30-minute one, and it was cool. It was almost like sensory deprivation. You start to kind of lose track of what's what. You're floating around. You can't see anything or hear anything. And then the second time I went floating ever, I went for an hour. And at that point in my life, like I wasn't well versed in like mindfulness. I hadn't began to sit. And so around the 40-minute mark, I'm like, I'm feeling insane. Like I got to get out of here. Like this, I can't. So I ended up like throwing in the towel and getting out. And then that led to an investigation, which led me to like begin meditating like more frequently into where my practice is now, where I lead practice. I teach meditation. And so
what did you come to the conclusion of your discomfort in needing to get out early? Did you find out what that was?
I think one of the biggest things that I hear is a hindrance towards people beginning to meditate is that they feel like they need to shut their mind off. Like I gotta shut my mind off, and I can't do it. Like my mind just goes crazy. This will not work for me. Like, the more I sit here, the longer I'm gonna think more things. And it's like, no. As a matter of fact, that's perfect. That's absolutely
why you're doing
perfect. Yeah, we're sitting to change our relationship with the mind, to allow the mind to be in this moment that we're sitting, however it shows up. And in that float, like that was me coming into contact with my mind for maybe like one of the first times and I just I couldn't sit still. Like it's like I need to do something. That voice that tells me like you should be doing something. Like what are you doing? What is this even? This is stupid. This isn't working. Like that voice was I gave it a lot of value. Where like meditation has allowed me to see the voices and hear them, allow for them. But like, okay, I just breathed how many times while we've been on this podcast episode? Imagine if I judged each and every breath. Like, oh, that was a great breath. Oh, that wasn't such a good breath. Oh, I don't need to be that breath. That breath makes me feel. Our minds think thoughts like our lungs breathe air. And so to learn to allow for our minds to think and to learn just like we allow for our breath to breathe is to really come into contact with the true relationship that we can have with our mind that allows for us to reframe, but also allows for us to give compassion and understanding to ourselves when we need it most. So that float freaked me out, I think, because I wasn't in the mindfulness at that point in time in my life. But the recent one that I did at Inception, it was wonderful. It was beautiful.
The first time, we always say 3 times. 3 times is how you judge. And really, you shouldn't even judge. It's a practice. Same thing with meditation. Yeah, I can't shut my mind off. Yeah, no shit. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. You can't shut your mind off. But who is your mind? Is that like a whole nother entity? Like, yo, I can't shut my mind. Who is this person, this thing running its processes? You're a computer that's been hijacked. Your whole central processing has hijacked you, and so now it's hijacked you, and you've been in this position for so long. you start to think that that's you.
So I got a question for you. As somebody who's built spaces for people to develop an understanding of themselves and to graduate and the understanding of their process, for people who feel like, because you got the hierarchy of needs, right? So it's like, if I don't feel like I'm even safe, so that's the thing that with a lot of people that I talk to, like I'm in survival mode. I don't have time to sit down and think. I don't have time to cultivate a new relationship with my mind. Like, I don't have time to think about the trauma that I've experienced. I'm still experiencing trauma. I'm still in these environments right now. So what do you tell to somebody like that feel like they don't have a choice around their experience that they're having?
There's 3 things you do when you don't like your present moment. It's only 3 things you can ever do. There's A, B, C. Sega joystick. A, you either change it. B, you remove yourself from it. Or C, you accept it.
That's tough. That's tough. So if I'm in the hood, right? So when
it's tough, but what else you gonna do? If you can't change it, you can't remove yourself from it, you have to accept it. My parents grew up in the hood, right? I don't say I grew up in the hood because there's degrees of hoods. Yeah, we used to go to the movie theater and they had metal detectors. You go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, hey, they got you're not handing the money to their hand. They have a revolving
some people don't know what you're talking about,
that
bro.
you put the change in, and it has a little thing. You put the dollars. That's up the street from me. So did I live in a hood? That may be hood to you.
Yeah.
But there was safety in my environment because my mom cultivated a household that no matter what's going on in the streets, you have to take responsibility and cultivate and do what you can with what you have. That's a tough thing to swallow. But guess what? Like you said earlier, ain't nobody coming to save you. So if you know that, right, the best thing to do is if you can't change it and you can't remove yourself from it, you need to accept it. And if you accept it, then you can start to actually do something towards it. That's the funny thing is it's the acceptance first. You can't change something that you can't observe. So you know what? I'm in survival mode. Okay, great that you know that. So how do you get out of it?
Talk to him.
What did you do? You just gonna stay burning through your resources and not be able to focus and concentrate, not be able to sleep, not be able to have a happier life. That's what you're gonna do? My parents grew up in the hood, right around the block from each other. There was shit going on. There was drug deals. There was Frank Nitti cutting people's heads off. All that stuff was going on. So what do? You gotta basically do what you can with what you got. Go to Africa. They don't have a lot of stuff either. Certain places don't have a lot of certain things either. The difference is their programming is different. See, our issue is that it's not our lack of resources. It's our lack of resourcefulness. We can be resourceful. Go look what our ancestors done. If they saw a lot of the complaining we got going on today, they would look at us like, what?
I think that speaks to that metric that just came out recently, where the black GDP
With the trillion spending,
we shot up, but our equity shot down. Like the money that we have that flows through the black community shot up, but our equity
we have
in
more
the community
cash
shot
and
down.
less assets.
You know, so it's like it's there for us to take advantage of, but we need to learn how to do it. I think for me, so I'm a person in recovery from substance use and alcoholism.
Okay.
I'm going on 9 years now, and that was like the biggest catalyst for me, where it was like, because I used external things to numb up in me in a way that allowed for me to kind of accept the way that things were.
What was that thing of choice?
The thing that kind of set me over the edge for real was Xanax. Like,
Okay.
I was going crazy with Xanax for real, but like I don't even think they have Vicodins no more. So maybe
So what does Xanax do for you? Feeling, what did it produce?
Everything did for me. So I was the type, that use things for what it would do for me. So if I need to be smart, I pop an Adderall. If I need to be strong and confident, I pop a Vicodin and drink some alcohol. If I need to be laid back, I take a Xanax. If I need to be creative, I smoke some weed. If I need to be, it's just like I had to. It didn't really matter what it was. It's just about what it would do to me and what I thought it would do to me, what I thought it would bring out inside of me. But in all actuality, those things existed inside of me already.
They use the word addicts and recovery. Bro, you just was modulating your nervous system. That was just the way that you knew how to do it.
Yeah. I think for me, and even for me, and so this is a developing process. I belong to a 12-step program. I've been going to a 12-step program since I got out of rehab, and recently the I'm an alcoholic, I'm an addict is beginning to not resonate with me as much as it did in the beginning. But the recovery aspect of it, like it being a practice, me continuing to show up and put together like these principles, and because the more I learn, the more I find out I don't know. Like the recovering aspect, like I'll never be recovered. Because
what does that mean?
What?
What does that mean that you will never be recovered? From what? What are you recovering from?
From a life of escapism.
What does that mean? Because it sounds like we're all in recovery, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but that's for you to decipher. So for me, this is what's empowered me. I can say that to the world.
Right.
Like everybody's
so I'm just trying to see your process. Like, what does that mean to be in recovery? Because there's always something to recover from. What are you recovering from on a day-to-day basis?
This is good. I don't like to feel bad. I don't like to feel bad. And life presents us with all type of opportunities to feel all type of ways. I like to get away from the bad ones, that I've classified as bad. Recovery allows for me to show up for life on life's terms, no matter what life brings me, whether people die, whether things get stole, whether things don't go the way that I want them to. I can show up and be empowered in those circumstances if I practice my recovery. But if for me, my natural state is like offense. Like I get offended. I get scared. I'm anxious. There's all these things.
That's your natural state, bro.
Ah, man.
That's your trauma pattern state. That is not your natural state of being.
I think we're having some breakthroughs, man.
Yeah, that is not your natural state of being. Peace is your natural state of being.
Talk to me.
Defense is a way to protect you from threat. But that's still needed too. But it's not like right now our natural state is relaxation, calm, chill. Is there defense in this room? Is there something to be defensive
What's all
about?
this other shit? But what's all this other shit though? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, what's all this other shit? So like, I realized the other day, it was the most peaceful circumstance you could ever think of. I was at this place called the Schwitz, and I was in a banyo, which is like a sauna, and I'm getting this thing called a platza from somebody who cared about me, and just like a massage kind of thing. But she has to go down and throw water on the coals, and there's a whole bunch of people in this banyo. And like, while I'm sitting getting this massage, like I'm thinking as she's throwing the water on the coals, like, damn, like I hope nobody like gets up and challenges how much water she's throwing on the coals, because then I'm gonna have to fight somebody. Like, where does that even come from? Like,
that comes from you done body work yet? Have you done body work?
But what's body work?
So your journey continues just like all of ours does, right? Like you can you've done a hell of a job to be where you are, but you're not in recovery. You're just in the process of life, and we all stay in the process. When you're not in the process, a mentor told me this. When you're not doing the work anymore, it's when you're dead. So you're just doing the work, brother.
The work doesn't happen automatically though.
No, you got to do it.
Yeah, which is the process of recovery for me. So like
so
that's the.
It's just the word recovery is so attached to a white man system.
So we
like, because you're not good. You're in recovery, or I am an alcoholic. I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
But that's why you say that those words are starting to resonate with you, because that's not I am is the most powerful thing you can say. And if you say I am a recovering alcoholic, then guess what you're gonna be? Always a recovering alcoholic. No, you experience some things and you use alcohol to be able to, or whatever thing, to modulate your system back again. That's all you were doing, is trying to modulate. I'm just trying to, what do we say? What's the last domino? I'm just trying to feel better.
Yeah.
That's why I don't look at people like you're an addict. This is why. This is why. I looked at brain maps, bro. I looked at over 1,000 brain maps when I was using my first technology for 7-8 years. I had people coming in with addiction issues and all that. Guess what it was? It was trauma. It was trauma patterns. It wasn't addiction issues like you just came up and you're just an addict. You're just predisposed to certain substances, like certain things like that. Yeah, but.
So I think there may be some genetics that play a role here, and I think
epigenetics, bro. You familiar with epigenetics? Epigenetic. We talking about quantum theory. We talk everything we talk about right now is what you talking about. Your desired reality. So why do you see it that way? Why do you see that you're in recovery? This is not a therapy session, but
I think this is
like
important.
But this is for other people too to be able to be like process this.
I know a lot of people that listen to this episode, especially that they know that I'm on this episode, are people of my recovery family, and I want my recovery family to know that to be in recovery is, and we might be just talking semantics here.
We're talking semantics.
But like the recovery culture is a strong culture. It's a culture of continuing to be able to show up for life on life's terms. And having a previous experience of not being able to do so without using a substance outside of ourselves.
Okay.
And recovery is self-determined as well. So like how you just said, the whole world is in recovery. So recovery is not something that we would diagnose anybody. Like, oh, you are this or you are that. Like, no, it only helps me. Like, and it empowers me to make a decision that aligns with where it is that I want to go versus where it is that I've been.
Do you use willpower to be in recovery?
No.
Are you in willpower mode to be in recovery?
No.
Because when you're in willpower to be in recovery, then it means that you're not recovered.
Yeah, no, it's not willpower. It's actually the opposite.
It's just a natural. This is just who I am. I can look at a drink. Can you have a drink right now?
No.
So that's what I'm talking about. Could you not have one because you feel like that would take you back and spiral you outwardly? Like some people, if they fall into something they used to,
I just rather not.
It's spiral.
I just rather not.
Yeah.
I just rather not. I don't know what happened. Who the fuck know what happened?
That's what I'm just asking.
I know what had happened previously, but I don't know what happened today. But I just rather not.
Yeah, that's just one of those.
But yeah, so for me, like recovery is what let God in for me. I come from like the religion that was given to me was Christianity, just like what I was brought up in, Black Christianity, you know. And through recovery, like through 12-step program, like I found a higher power of my own understanding, which led me to the understanding that I have now, and the continuous understanding that I continue to understand. And this shit is not willpower. If it was, this shit is not willpower. This is the opposite of willpower. This is me giving up my will and allowing for something bigger to come in and guide and drive and give me what it is that I may need.
Yeah. I get it. I understand it. It's just that I think that's time for, and I've worked with people in 12-step in recovery, and once they've been able to blend what I'm talking about, it makes it more at peace to be able to just be who you are and not have to be in any state per se. Like even the word "do the work," like that. That's not something that's just like every day I'm just doing the work. Like you're living your life, man. Like you don't have these concepts when you're young to really kind of process through. So let's end on you reading your card.
Yeah, but I had to, I gotta press the line, man. 'Cause especially Black people, there's still a lot of stigma around addiction and alcoholism. There's still a lot of ways we're not looking at it, and a lot of help that the community needs. So
absolutely, and I think we need to get to the roots of those issues and not make it about just you have a dis-ease. Well, I'm always about this. Well, why do you have that disease?
But we can't even talk about it if we don't accept it, right? If we don't,
back to that three things, right? You have to accept. You have to accept where you are to be able to change anything, right? So this is not I'm not adversarial towards that. You know that. Yeah. It's just how do we challenge our beliefs so that we can create our desired reality? Because we don't want to be stuck in a specific reality and how we frame things with our words. That's why I keep challenging the words, not the process. Yeah. It's just the word, and what does that really mean for you? Is it limiting
It's empowering.
It's
empowering.
good. It's good
And
that
so
it's
that's-
empowering to you.
Yeah, it's empowering. For
I
me.
had to change the word money for a minute.
To what? Energy?
Resource energy. I couldn't even use the word money.
Yeah, money is weird.
You have to do this with these words sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it may feel good, and then sometimes, like you said, those two words, you was like, I'm starting to not resonate with that anymore. Which was it? Which was the word?
Alcoholic addict. I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. Because
but I am in recovery. Like really resonates with my spirit for real.
and that's great.
Yeah.
You know, so
And that's the most important thing is that we discover what it is that resonate with us, because nobody like we have to live our lives.
yeah.
You know, so,
And only you can get to the point where you know when it doesn't resonate with you. And sometimes it gets to that point when somebody says, hey, you know, I had someone who was dealing with a chronic health issue.
Yeah.
And they said they was a Crohn's survivor. And I said, what? Well, what does that mean? That you're a Crohn's survivor? Is that who you are? Because who were you before you had that label attached to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, it's just about those labels. And two, the body. Here's the reason why I say all of this. You remember Bruce Lipton? We talked about
name
epigenetic.
Yeah.
Epigenetics and the power of belief, it creates your whole reality.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever belief in those words and how we choose to frame things, your body listens.
Mm-hmm.
Your body listens.
Yeah.
The body keeps the score. The issues are in the tissues. That's why I asked you, did you do body work?
Mm-hmm.
And the more you start to do body work, a lot of things you start to be like, that ain't it. I used to say, I have anxiety. No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I experience anxiety.
Yeah.
I have depression. No, I don't. I experience depression,
Yeah.
but that's not who I am.
Yeah,
it's just an experience.
This is our first conversation in public, but it is not going to be our last. And I know this conversation is going to continue after we get off these mics, because I think there's a lot here. I think a lot of people will be helped from a lot of the things we talked about today.
For sure. And I'm always open, to have these conversations to help us all kind of just see things differently and to change my own perspective, because you even challenged me and changed me to say, okay, well, let me see, how do you see that? How does that feel for you?
And I think so never trust a mentor without a mentor. Never trust a teacher without a teacher.
I heard that before, but I don't know if I believe that.
Let's go. Yeah, so if you're not learning, I don't want to learn from you. I don't. Because your process of obtaining new information, like you're obsolete. I am a software program. Like I continuously update. So I want to be proven wrong. Like I want you to challenge my ideas in such a way that allows for me to come to a higher understanding. Whereas like we would usually look at it as offense, because we're offended because I identify with this idea.
Yeah.
So if you tell me no, you're not, and I'm like, well, yeah, I am. And now we're gonna go back and forth because I live and die by this. But when we're a software program and we allow for those continuous updates, it's like, no, like prove me. Oh, okay, well, so, and then I continue to develop and evolve. And if you get around people that develop I want a mentor that develops and evolves.
Right. So can someone be developing and evolving without a mentor?
No.
How? Why not?
I think mentor can be like this heavy thing where we feel like I have to get this person and make this person my mentor, and they have to agree with the fact that they're a mentor. I have Napoleon Hill's my mentor, Wayne Dyer's my mentor.
Right.
See,
I like how you said that.
Myron Golden, YouTube, Life.
Who's the biggest mentor to you?
Who?
You.
Yeah.
No, it's back down to Neo.
Yeah.
You the one. Ain't no savior. Nobody coming. You said you get downloads. Who you getting downloads from, and who is it going into?
The experience and the experience. It's the experience.
The experience is the mentor.
I think for me, I got to keep I got to make sure I keep that ego check. Like, especially being a teacher and
But again, that's back down to your beliefs. I've had mentors and I've not had mentors.
So you would say you're your biggest teacher?
From what I've started to really come back down to is like, yo, I can go and you can give something to me. But what I noticed is that the more I poured out my cup from being floating and things of that nature, I was downloading straight from the source. I whiteboard. I sit and I whiteboard stuff, and I'm just like, I see why Nikola Tesla and these guys were being able to do what they were doing. You ever seen Jungle Survival on YouTube? It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
No, what
these
is that?
guys are going and just building these out of like clay dirt. They're these two dudes and these little tools, and they just go in there and they start building these architectures.
What?
Where does that come from? When you see those ants building an anthill and all that stuff, did they go to school for that? No, they didn't go to school. There's an infinite wisdom, dude, that we're constantly tapped into. But you know what? There's so much noise that we can't get it. And when I start silencing the noise, I'm like, I don't need to read books. I'm downloading them straight from the source. It doesn't mean that you can't.
Yeah.
Now, I'll sit and I'll watch YouTube videos on the stuff I want to learn all day, right? Yeah, you're learning from all that. But where are they getting that from? That ain't even them. Where are they tapping in from? No thought is original. No thought can be created or destroyed. It's all present. We're all downloading. If you say it's from you, then who is you? We're all connected. That's quantum theory. There's no separation between any of us. We're learning from ourselves right now.
I feel like this studio is finna collapse upon itself right now. The more you talk.
But that's just it though. That's it. So we have to decentralize consciousness. Consciousness has been centralized between who has the information to tell you who you are. Once you decentralize and demonopolize, you get back to who you really are. It always came from you, bro. You always knew the way because you are it. You're not separate from it. Can't be. But you got to peel back the layers of the trauma to open it up. And that's why I said body work. You can't pour new wine into old wineskins. If you want new information, you gotta pour out the old wine. I know, bro. We just having a this one of them.
Yeah, we can keep going.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's
Read that.
Maintain an attitude of allowing. In an attitude of allowing, all resistance in the form of thoughts of negativity or doubt are replaced with simply knowing that you and your source are one and the same.
Bro, if that don't just yo, I didn't have you pick that. You picked that on your own. That's a message. That's a message to yourself.
I picked it.
I picked it. Who is the I that did the picking?
I don't know.
It's the I am. The I am that you already know, that you already knew, that you will always be and never be separate from. But again, it's our words, it's our experiences that changes those things. So
when I tell you, man, I am so grateful to be a part of this process. Like I'm so grateful to be a part of this process. Like I'm so grateful to be floating with the stream. I'm so grateful to, and every now and then maybe I'll try to turn around and swim back upstream, but then I always get back into the stream, and it's just a beautiful process. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah, and in that process, guess what, man?
What's that?
Like just like your hat say, it wasn't luck. It's preparation meeting the opportunity.
Yep.
You know, and that's where we at, bro.
Yep, and we're gonna keep leaving the breadcrumb trails for people to pick up.
Yep. So appreciate you, bro.
Yeah. I got a couple shout outs. I can do a couple shout outs.
For sure.
Yeah, so make sure y'all check out my book, The Handbook, A Pocket Guide for Creating Your Desired Reality and Being a Good Human While You're at It. It is available on Amazon right now. You could also get it at brycethethird.com/the handbook. Also, if you want to keep in contact with me, you can text me at 313-254-5972. That's 313-254-5972.
And we're gonna leave all this in the credits too.
Okay, yeah. And also check out my podcast, You Feel That, with Bryce the Third, the best podcast there is for emotional, spiritual, and mental development for creatives and entrepreneurs. And we're gonna have David on here pretty soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Till next time.
Let's get it.
You've been listening to the Inner Wealth Podcast on EYL.
Get out the matrix and live.
Theme song produced by Be Ready for West Coast Creations. I am Razcast, reminding you to take action, be proactive, be congruent. Get out of the matrix, get your mind right. We've automated mental health at inception. Join the movement. Inner Wealth Podcast. Inner Wealth Podcast.